or management.
When you walk out on that field today, ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We made it! We made it! We made it! We made it! And let's go to the house! And let's go to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We made it. Let's go to the house. Let's go to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. It's too much crying from that. He's a man. They can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We made it. And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
Now this game is just getting started right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Team Texas Tuesday, and a lot to talk about with Texas teams. Cowboys trying to get back in the win column after losing a heartbreaker to the Rams over the weekend. Texans trying to get back in the win column after losing, can't call it a heartbreaker, they just lost to Kansas City on Thursday. And, of course, the Houston Rockets in complete turmoil as the former head coach now, Mike D'Antoni, is expected to interview with another team this week. And the Rockets are throwing around names like Sam Cassell, Tyronn Lue, and, disappointingly, Jeff Van Gundy. So a lot to talk about. We'll have Kris Gardner from Houston Roundball Review coming on. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, will be on the show in just a little bit. We'll break all that down and see where we go from here. Also got very special guests joining us in the 2 o'clock. I make that the 1 o'clock hour. Garrick Jones, you know very well, but I'll introduce you to somebody else who is part of an amazing program called About Diversity and Inclusion. And we'll do that in the 1 o'clock hour. So again, it's the lunch break. It's our Team Texas Tuesday. We'll do all that in just a little bit. Let me take a quick break right here on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
I'm Linda J. We all know Election Day is just around the corner. We want change. We need change. We can be the change. Exercise your right for change on Election Day. Don't talk about it. Let's be about it. So let's roll to the polls in record numbers, and we can make that change. This message is approved by KYOK 1140 AM, 92.3 FM, and KYOKradio.org.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Are you one of the millions who have taken Zantac or other generic versions of this popular drug to help treat stomach issues? Then pay close attention to this message. The FDA said it detected low levels of a probable cancer-causing chemical known as NDMA in Zantac and other generic forms of this popular drug. They've banned sales and even removed it from the market. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've taken Zantac or a generic equivalent, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's 800-251-7816.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legend continues.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
Hi, this is TJ from South Park. I listen to the lunch break with AJ Jones on 1140 AM and 92.3 FM.
All right, appreciate you, TJ, right there in South Park. A lot of good folks down there in that area, and we want to shout out to them as well in South Park. All right, so Houston Texans. Let's talk about them for a second. We'll get into the Rockets and the Astros and all of them in a little bit. But your Houston Texans didn't have long to figure out what they did wrong in that game versus Kansas City. They got off to a quick start, 7-0. Everybody is raving about David Johnson. Everybody is raving about David Johnson like he ran for 777 yards in that game. But as I checked it out, let me go back and make sure I didn't see it wrong. I just want to make sure I got it right. I don't want to slight the guy if he balled out. I want to make sure I got it right. Let's see. Box score, Texans. Yeah, David Johnson ran the ball 11 times for 77 yards. Yes, that is a 7-yard average. 7 yards per carry is amazing. It's out of this world. It is phenomenal. Touches were low. 11 carries, low on the touches side, and I guess maybe they had him on a pitch count or something like that, where they were limiting his touches, or the game got into that area, the other area on the play sheet where when you're down by a certain number of points, you got to throw the ball more, that kind of thing. But you also got to look at what was the defense doing. What was the defense doing that made the offense think that it was best to run the ball with David Johnson and take their chances on that rather than letting Deshaun Watson beat them with Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, and Kenny Stills? You can't just always look at the box score and think that somebody gave you that. It's kind of like in basketball where one guy has 45 points. Like, oh, he went off. But the team lost by 15. In other words, the game plan might have been to let that person go off, but know that one guy can't beat you. So, I mean, I got Texan fans, I got local announcers and columnists and journalists and former friends and former brothers and all these people just giving me the business because I'm not jumping up and down and doing a backflip because David Johnson ran it 11 times for 77 yards. Great yards per average. Phenomenal. Can I give you that? Can we go ahead and do like they do in court when they got 88 character witnesses and the trial is not about the person's character? You let one or two of those go, and then you stipulate for the other 86 that their testimony is going to be that he's got good character or she's got good character. I will stipulate that the yards per carry average was phenomenal. The game was good. Not great, but good. 11 for 77 is not gonna win you ball games every Sunday. It didn't win this ball game. So, but let me be fair. He also had a touchdown. Nice run. Showed some flashes of the old David Johnson on that run. You know, wasn't just bust through the middle. Nobody touched him. You had to do some maneuvering. Had to do a little bit of maneuvering. Did it, got in the end zone, nice. Let me give him some credit for pass catches. David Johnson had 109 yards from scrimmage because he caught 3 balls for 32 yards. The longest was a 15-yarder. Averaged almost 11 yards per catch. That's good. That's good. Dr. Aki is already where I'm at. But if you add all that together, you add David Johnson with Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, Kenny Stills. Those 3 combined don't outplay DeAndre Hopkins. Those 3 combined don't outplay DeAndre Hopkins. Kenny Stills had a good, 8 catches, 112 yards, averaged 14 yards a catch, no touchdowns. But you put Will Fuller, David Johnson together, you still don't win the game. You still don't win the game. Yeah, but it was Kansas City. Those are the teams you have to beat in order to get where it is you say you want to be. You say you want to win more than the district championship. I'm sorry, the divisional title, AFC South. You say you want more than that. Well, you got to beat the Kansas Cities of the world. You're going to have to beat Baltimore. Looks like you're going to have to deal with Pittsburgh now. Looks like you're going to have to deal with Tennessee now. I meant what I said, and I wasn't trying to be facetious. One of the bright spots of the weekend for the Houston Texans was not David Johnson. It's Phillip Rivers. If he's going to be throwing the ball around like he did last year, Texans are going to have a field day twice this season. That's 2 wins that you can count on if he's going to turn the ball over 2-3 times per matchup. But let's be 100. Let's be 100. David Johnson also got nicked up in this game, had a wrist injury. Was probably that close to being out again. And I don't have the game story on how many carries Johnson had in the first half versus the second half. But I have a feeling that the bulk of his carries came in the first half. Yeah, and nobody's talking about that. One of the issues is not just how good David Johnson is, it's also about his durability. And throwing his salary. And oh yeah, by the way, the team coming in here on Sunday likes to hit. Guys like to hit. Guys like to hit. So, again, I'm going to give you love for David Johnson. I'm going to give you that. 11 for 77. Touchdown. Wasn't straight down the middle, untouched. He had to use some skill, some agility. But David Johnson and Will Fuller combined still didn't equate to a win. Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, Kenny Stills, Bill O'Brien, GM, head coach, still couldn't outcoach and outplay Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, defense coordinator for Kansas City. Oh, yeah, and Pat Mahomes and the boys. So my special guest is on. Let me get ready to take a quick break. When I come back, we'll have Mr. Houston Roundball review himself. It'll be Kris Gardner right after this on the lunch break. We'll go to the other major team in the state or the city of Houston. We'll do that next right here on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
Legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. 2 radio stations in one.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
Now is a great time to replace your worn-out windows during the Renewal by Andersen 25-year savings event. Upgrade your home today. Buy 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Plus, get 12 months with no interest, no money down, and no payments. Call now. Get 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Installation and warranty included. Renewal by Andersen takes every CDC-recommended safety precaution to protect your family. For 25 years, people have trusted us for their window replacement needs, and you can too. Call now to learn about our buy 4, get the 5th one free window replacement offer.
800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid in full within 12 months. Other conditions apply. We've adjusted our operations to serve you safely following all CDC guidelines. Visit renewalbyandersen.com for details.
Hey, what's going on? This is Lecrae, and right now you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Team Texas Tuesday, and here to make sense of it all on the NBA side with your Houston Rockets, I had to get somebody who knows what he's talking about. So why not get the founder, host of, the creator of the Houston Roundball Review? It's Kris Gardner. What's going on, Kay?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing, but what are the Rockets doing is the question. I mean, before you jump right in, take us back to game 5 where the Rockets had to avoid elimination. Did they really come out that flat and that uninspired? And, I mean, it almost looked like James Harden was playing Moody.
Well, brother, I mean, you call 13-2 behind and 33-11 a bad look. That's a bad start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's what happened. They failed by that much in the first quarter, and it was over. They made some runs. Second quarter, made another run, and then Lakers said, yeah, enough of this. And Rockets trailed by much as 30. You know, I mean, it's bad, man. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It was inevitable, in my opinion. I said Lakers in 6, but Lakers in 5. Rockets lost 4 straight, and they looked so good in game 1.
Right.
But then I think the Lakers made some adjustments, moving AD to starting 5.
Yep.
Sitting down JaVale McGee and not playing Dwight. So they beat the Rockets at their own game, really.
At their own game, right. Like you said, that minor adjustment of moving Davis over and bringing in Morris, who was a problem. Offensively, defensively was a problem. You know, it makes you wonder what you know. All we heard, Kris, was the matchup for the Rockets and the Lakers favored the Rockets. That's all I heard. The shooters, the small ball,
Who said that? What me?
A lot of our colleagues, Kris. A lot of our colleagues.
Some of those colleagues are also wearing rocket-colored glasses too. So.
Yeah, well.
That ain't me.
Speak on it, bro. Speak on it. So, when it didn't happen, surprisingly, eyeball raising, James Harden looked dead in the camera and said, we are a piece away. We're headed in the right direction. Did he bump his head? Was it too hot in there? What happened?
I mean, he did say that, and he said that post-game, and good for him. Now they're 2 pieces away at least. One includes a head coach.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who that piece is unless it's Anthony Davis. So they need a skilled big man who can do a little bit of everything. And the Rockets short ball, it's not small ball because these guys are strong and they're 6'5", 6'6", but they just ran up against taller guys who do what they do better. So it's more than one piece. They need a coaching adjustment, in philosophy. I don't believe he'll be gone, but I think Mr. Morey needs to be gone too. He's been there 14 years. He's made a lot of deals. No trip to the finals. So what are you measuring him to?
You're bringing up good points. Let's take them one at a time. The coaching philosophy. When I first heard the news that D'Antoni's agent had informed the team that he wasn't coming back, I was like, okay, we knew that. But then when you think about it, D'Antoni literally said, I don't want to do this anymore with you guys. That's a whole different kind of commentary. Don't fire me. I don't want you. And, there were people that were talking during the series that D'Antoni was the number one priority of the Rockets in the offseason. Like they were going to work a deal to bring him back. And D'Antoni said, I don't want to. I'd rather go somewhere else. And I don't even know where that is yet.
And that became clear, I think, in Game 3 in the ESPN broadcast or TNT, whichever one was showing the game, that the Rockets indicated that they do want to bring Mike back. And Mike's representation, according to that source, said, that's nice and all, but Mike will decide for himself what he wants to do. That right there was it. That was it. That was nationally known, put out there for the public, that Mike D'Antoni is not coming back, in my opinion. And then on that flight back, the announcement was made that he's not coming back. I think it says more about Tillman and how he handled things a couple of years ago and then last year.
Yeah.
And Mike didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, we got Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us here on the lunch break, talking about the Houston Rockets and the fallout. You bring up a good point because the contract negotiations between Daryl Morey, Tillman Fertitta, and Mike D'Antoni got public, and they got borderline personal.
Yes.
To the point where D'Antoni said, listen, I'll play it out. We'll go from there. And I could tell right there, it was almost like the wife that said, oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't come home. I'll be all right. You do what you're doing. I'll be just fine. And she's planning in her head, in her mind, and in her actions to leave.
Exactly. I agree with you, AJ. I think when some of the comments Tillman made publicly, and Mike maintained professionalism, he said all the right things publicly, but I just got that sense that he had made up his mind that he doesn't want to deal with this anymore. Thank you, Tillman. They were both professional in how they handled it Sunday and with their public statements. But I think Mike was done with Tillman a while ago.
Yeah. Now, Kris, all right, so obviously we're hearing names like Sam Cassell. Everybody's talking about Tyronn Lue. Why are we still talking about Jeff Van Gundy?
Because of the connections with the Rockets, and he has a relationship with Daryl Morey. But, AJ, let me ask you this. Would it change your opinion of Sam Cassell or Ty Lue if the Clippers lose Game 7 to the Nuggets tonight? Okay. I think so too, because that'd be, in my eyes, be a bad look. You coaching, you're on the staff of a team that lost a 3-1 lead to a team that you're better than.
Yeah, that's
supposedly
true. Yeah. Okay, so I know that Daryl Morey tried to bring in Jeff Van Gundy before Les Alexander pulled rank and said, no, we're bringing in Mike D'Antoni. Is Tillman Fertitta going to let Morey choose this head coach? Or is Tillman looking at Morey like, dude, you next?
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what I'm kind of curious of, because Daryl Morey had a contract extension signed last summer, which was 4 or 5 years. So he still has money coming to him if Tillman decides to eat it. And I'm not sure Tillman is in a position or even wants to pay Daryl to go away.
Yeah.
So in that case, would Tillman still pay Daryl to stay around, but have his finger on the scale in personnel decisions, including hiring the next coach?
Yeah. You bring up a point. I hate that Tillman's money's not right because, again, he inherited Mike D'Antoni, Daryl Morey, and James Harden. He's not a basketball guy. He's a businessman. Yes. And any good businessman could look at this model and say, hey, it's all right. But didn't Tillman Fertitta make some of his bones on going in and fixing stuff that was broken in people's businesses and stuff like that? He can't do that with his own?
We shall see. Like I said, he has said previously that the money that he has in the Rockets is separate from his restaurant businesses. So the Rockets will always be safe and all those things. Okay, if your money's good enough, then fire Daryl. Eat that money, bring in your own general manager, bring your own head coach. And then you have your say in who you want and the style of play for the Rockets to play. But if you keep Daryl, then Daryl's going to still have the 3 is greater than 2 philosophy. The analytics is greater than everything else in basketball. And that's his opinion. That's it. That's what he believes. I think it's proven that it does not work unless you have the right personnel with it. And he has done that, clearly.
Yeah. We got Kris Gardner from Houston Roundball Review joining us here on the Lunch Break Team Texas Tuesday. I'm stuck on this for a second. Daryl Morey, like you said, has a philosophy. The philosophy is still questionable, has some success, but not translated into, final success. Mm-hmm. Then it goes back to what James Harden says. Could they possibly be a legitimate three-point shooter away from this thing actually working? Because if they had guys knock down shots like, watch this, Rajon Rondo was doing for the LA Lakers and Marquise Morris was doing for the LA Lakers, then maybe we would be having a different discussion right now. So are we looking at it wrong? Could maybe Morey and Harden be right?
They could be right. I don't believe they are, but they could be. They need to bring in a sharpshooter, a sniper, somebody who shoots 40% from 3. The Rockets, Game 5 was ultimate irony. The Rockets outscored the Lakers in the paint by 2. The Lakers made more threes than the Rockets by 6. The Lakers shot a better percentage than the Rockets did from 3, 50+% from 3. They were 19 for 37. The Rockets were 13 for 49. You need snipers. You need Russ to stop jacking up threes, but you need more than just 3-point shooting to win in today's NBA. Right. They're talking about threes more than 2s. We don't want all threes. We're okay with layups and free throws. Okay, then why are you taking 50+ threes in a ball game when you don't have guys who can make 40% of them? Right. I mean, again, Eric Gordon was supposed to be that guy. Whatever happened to Eric before this pandemic hit carried over into the pandemic. He looked like he was changing his game, driving to the hole and putting pressure on the defense and the rim, but he reverted back to what he was used to. Not Christian Covington, but Robert Covington. Again, he hot, cold. The other guys, hot, cold. I don't want to hear about the Daniel House effect. If you're telling me this team lost because they lost Daniel House, then we had bigger problems than we thought before. And in the philosophy of the Rockets, if Covington's not making a 3 on offense, what else is he going to do? Eric Gordon, when he stops driving to the hoop and still misses 3s, mix up your game. Their offense was 3 or bust, go to the layup line or get to the free throw line. If they had no mid-range game, Russ had a mid-range game. When they were their best in January, Russ stopped shooting 3s. Yep. He maybe 1 or 2 a game. He attacked the basket and was killing folks in the mid-range game. That was the Rockets at their best. Yeah, absolutely. The bench kind of disappeared. When Jeff Green wasn't balling, there was literally nothing off the bench. Austin Rivers had a very difficult series. And I think, everybody saw that 40-point game and thought, hey, man, Austin do that in the playoffs, and we're good to go. Now I'm questioning myself about saying maybe James Harden was right. They're not one piece away. They're a few pieces away. Where did they get those pieces from? They have 0 equity, 0 cap space. Where do they rebuild this team if that's what they want to do? Well, that is the question. That's the big thing. You have almost $100 million tied up in Harden, Russ, and Eric Gordon.
Yep.
And all 3 of them are 30+, basically. They're on the downside of their NBA's career. Russ's injury and the COVID impacted him. No doubt it hurt him in his effectiveness in the bubble. But mix up your game, Russ. And then when Russ did get fouled and went to the line, he missed free throws.
Right. That part. Yeah.
So they have to do something. I don't know who wants to get Eric Gordon and his 3 or 4 years left on his deal. Who wants that? And he's inconsistent in the playoffs. That's a problem. Covington makes $12 million a year. They're not going to trade. If they trade him, then what are they going to get for defense?
Right.
And shot blocking. They have to decide what they want to do. Don't have draft picks. You traded your assets away. They're in a tough spot. But if you do keep Daryl Morey, Daryl's going to try to go overseas and find these under the radar people that he really hangs his hat on, finding diamonds in the rough that other folks don't see and bringing them over here and making them successful in this style of play. To a point, playoff time, they don't get it done. And that's where I say that's where it matters.
Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. Kris, you've covered this team extensively. Let's get off the main guys for a second. Who is the Michael Porter Jr. of the Rockets? Who is that guy that's buried on that bench that with a few more minutes and a few more opportunities could be a playmaker, a scorer, and a difference maker, in your opinion?
They don't have one.
See, that's the part.
They don't have one. Chris Clemens, no. Michael Frazier, no. No, they don't have one. Bruno Caboclo, no. They don't have one.
Not even Ben McLemore. I mean, I thought that was a steal. I thought you stole a first-rounder, a former first-rounder who, is motivated, wants to revitalize his career, can finally do all the things that he thought he was going to be able to do before it went south. And you're saying that ain't it either?
But in this offense, they made him just a three-point shooter. That's it. They limit the skills of the players. You shoot threes, that's it.
Wow.
Ben had skills. He was good in college. When he had overall skills and he got a chance to put them on display on the court. You come here, we want you to shoot threes, catch the ball from James in the corner or on the wing. That's it. Come on now. They need more guys with overall skills, guys who can beat the man off the dribble, get to the basket, create for themselves as well as their teammates. Yeah. James needs help. Russ needs help.
Yeah. Kris, so Mike D'Antoni's gone. Can't blame him anymore.
Correct.
Who in your honest opinion, professional opinion, is next or should be next for this team?
Well, now I get back to if Daryl Morey is still in charge, will Daryl still want to play the analytics game, threes more than twos? Because what established coach with a proven track record as a head coach in the league would want to step into that situation.
Right.
Now, if you're a new head coach, somebody who wants to be a head coach for the first time, like a Sam Cassell, maybe you'll give it a try because it's an NBA head coaching job that you never had before. Maybe you'll be able to accept that and be willing to bite that bullet. You won't have much say in the style of play, but you'll be head coach in the NBA.
I don't understand how we can win that way, or the Rockets can win that way, where the people making the decisions on how you play are not sitting on that sideline. I don't understand that. Like, is that normal in the NBA?
It is on teams who've had less success than the Rockets. The Rockets have had success under Morey. They have never tanked. They've made the playoffs all these consecutive years under Daryl, but they've always had a ceiling. And now with Public and the great article that Kelly Iko did for The Athletic about the plane ride back, shining a kind of a negative light on Tillman, how many players and established head coaches are willing to cash that check and deal with an owner who might meddle and go public with certain things that should stay behind closed doors?
Yeah. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. Kris, there's excitement in Dallas with, of course, Luka and Kristaps. There's excitement in New Orleans, of course, with Zion and the guys. There's even excitement in Memphis and Oklahoma City, the two places where there is, zero excitement and zero we got this bright spot, Rockets and Spurs. And those are the old guards.
Yes.
Could we be seeing a change in the leadership of this part of the West?
We could, but I feel more confident in the Spurs leadership and management than I do the Rockets.
Wow.
And based on track record, obviously based on success, but even now they have, I think, better younger talent than the Rockets do. They have more younger, talented players than the Rockets.
Goodness gracious, man. You are, it's good. That's why I had you on, because no chaser, straight facts.
Correct. That's
Straight
me. Mm-hmm.
Facts. Yeah. All right. I keep going back to this. Give me a name. Give me a name who it shouldn't be.
Who it shouldn't be? Well,
it
should not be Jeff Van Gundy.
I agree. We dated her already. It didn't work out back then. Probably not going to work out again.
I'd be surprised. And I think it's becoming clear that everybody believes the next head coach has to find a way to relate to James Harden, to push James Harden and hold him accountable. Well, I think Ty Lue could do that. I'm not sure Tillman would pay Ty Lue the money Ty Lue wants if the reports are accurate that he's looking for $6 or $7 million per year.
Right.
And then maybe a David Fizdale. That'd be kind of interesting to see. Fizdale did not have success in previous stops. Would he push the needle here in Houston? That remains to be seen. Why not John Lucas? Why not somebody on staff?
When I think about,
he can push the buttons now to the players. He can get to them.
Right. When I think about how Nick Nurse took over for Dwayne Casey, one of the reasons why Nurse has been so successful is because of the relationship he had with those players by being on that bench, being in that locker room, being in those practices. So he didn't have to prove himself or earn the trust of the players, and they figure out his personality. John Lucas is a name that we're not hearing, but I agree with you. I feel like we should hear more. Why is Jason Kidd's name not coming up more?
When he left Milwaukee, how he left was kind of a bad look for him. I mean, he lacked some professionalism, things he handled, but maybe he's learned from that now that he's moved on. He does have a relationship with players, being a Hall of Fame player himself. He could perhaps get to Harden and Russ to do certain things that, better on the court and be more aggressive.
He's a Hall of Fame guard, you know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not sure. We're getting into a spot there. We don't know how much Tillman wants to spend.
Gotcha.
If Tillman has in his mind, $3-4 million for a head coach, then he's going to lose some higher caliber coaches.
Right.
It's his money, and he decides what he wants to do with it. But if he has in his mind, I'm only spending $4 million per year, well, that's going to change who you get to.
Yeah. Stay right there, Kris. Let me take a quick break. We'll be right back. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. It's Team Texas Tuesday on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. We'll be right back.
I'm going to tell you how you can get real health insurance for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable health insurance for you and your family immediately, starting at just $6 a day. And coverage is guaranteed regardless of your medical condition. That's right, for about $6 a day, you can have guaranteed health insurance. And there's dental, vision, and prescription coverage too. You owe it to yourself and your family to make this free call right now and learn more. There are no deductibles, no waiting period, no contracts, and coverage is guaranteed. Call National Health right now for your risk-free guaranteed health insurance quote starting at just $6 a day. Call now.
800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. That's 800-797-0921. Paid for by GoHealth.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
Hey, what's up? This your boy James Fortune, and you are listening to The Lunch Break. Keep it locked.
All right, y'all. Back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It's Team Texas Tuesday. I've got one of the best Houston Roundball reviews on Kris Gardner. And Kris, just looking at some of the text messages that have come in, a lot of folks asking about Mark Jackson. I've kind of, now know a few more things that I didn't know about Mark Jackson. I guess I can kind of see why his name is not coming up. But again, we cannot ignore the fact that Mark Jackson, aside from being a religious nut, built the foundation for the Golden State Warriors to be who they are.
True, but I think a few words you just said will still keep him out of the league. I think Mark
being a religious nut.
Yes, I think. I'm just being honest. I just think
I got you. I'm a
his
pastor,
viewpoint.
So I can relate. Yes, sir. Yeah, I got
his viewpoints just rub some folks the wrong way. You can call him being blackballed. I think that's right. I think his viewpoint has rubbed some folks the wrong way and will continue to keep him out of the league.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. I unfortunately, I think you're right. And this is my thing. Everybody's got to understand when you're coaching these billion-dollar organizations, you're leading not just people who think like you and believe what you believe. You're leading the entire organization. And anytime too much of what you believe becomes a focal point, you're going to have some people that say, no, thank you. I don't want it. And, oh, yeah, they're going to make some phone calls. Before you hire him, just know it's going to be this or nothing else. So I get that. Fizdale is an interesting guy. Mm-hmm. Fizdale is an interesting guy to go along with the Tyronn Lue's. And we're hearing that Tyronn Lue's probably the front runner for Philly for that job right there. D'Antoni and Billy Donovan are supposed to be interviewing in Philly. Again, Fizdale and Donovan, minus Donovan's relationship with Russ, those would be interesting names here for the Houston Rockets.
But I think David's problem is, remember, he had a great quote, take that for data. So he's not huge on analytics. So how would that mesh with Mr. Analytics in Daryl Morey?
Yeah. Man, those pesky quotes.
Stranger things could happen. David could realize he could have adopted, could change his viewpoint. Daryl could meet him halfway. I doubt it, but anything is possible.
When you look at that, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving literally got a guy who had a job fired and then brought in their own guy with Steve Nash, who, again, ain't coached nothing but his way to a sandwich,
And soccer teams.
And soccer teams, yeah. So why is it that James Harden and Russ don't have their person in mind?
Who do you have? Who do you think they have in mind?
I don't. Can I be real frank with you? I don't think they have anybody in mind. I really don't. I don't know if James Harden thinks like that, and he's a different kind of lead, face of, star of the team than your LeBron Jameses, Kevin Durant's, Kyrie Irving's, and I think those are the things that make him difficult, quirky. I don't know.
I'd say quirky. I won't say difficult, because after Game 5, he was asked if he would like Coach D'Antoni to return. He said, of course. He said he was willing to do whatever it takes to get better, for the team to get better. He also said that one piece comment, which a lot of, good for him saying that, but no.
Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. I mean,
he is quirky. He has gotten better in leadership as a vocal leader. That's still not really his thing to be a vocal leader. He'd rather lead by example and show you by his actions. But now you got people questioning his killer instincts, all those kind of things. He's not LeBron. That's not a shock. LeBron is a once in a lifetime player. From mindset, physical, skills, mentality, all those things. That's not James Harden. And Russ is so headstrong, he has gotten that way that's his whole life. But Russ, we saw the game 5. The game was over. And Russ gets in it in the post talking about y'all better double. Russ, y'all down about 20 plus, man. That's more important things. You should have done all this kind of focus in the first quarter, not the fourth quarter. And then, of course, he gets in it with a fan.
Yeah.
Come on, Russ. I mean, your priorities, you're such a strong-willed dude, but your priorities are out of whack, man. Come on. So I'm not sure who they have in mind to coach them. But why not? Let's go back to somebody on the staff. Why not John Lucas?
Yeah.
Because I think he could get them to play hard because anybody been around John Lucas, seen him work out with players, he takes nothing. No excuses, no guff from anybody.
Right.
He calls it like it is, and he demands excellence from his players 24/7.
What's interesting is John Lucas has worked with the toughest of the toughest. He's worked with guys and young ladies who were dealing with addictions and addictive behavior, and John didn't put up with any of it. If they wanted to walk off, he let them know, you can walk off, but this door doesn't open on the other side. And many lives have been changed by the leadership and the tenacity of John Lucas. And oh yeah, by the way, he had some measure of success in the NBA as a player and a coach.
Right.
So I like to move away from the household names. Everybody wants Tyronn Lue. You're only gonna get one Tyronn Lue. Obviously, Billy Donovan has some issue, something with Westbrook that might not be a good fit. They're obviously not going to bring back. I want to say Van Gundy, but they might. But obviously, they're not going to bring back D'Antoni. Nate McMillan is a name that's still out there. Is there any benefit in a Nate McMillan here?
Yes, but then again, we go back to Nate being an established head coach. Would he want to coach under the Daryl Morey philosophy if that is what is told to him, required of him?
Yeah.
I don't see that from an established head coach wanting to do that.
Right.
A new up-and-coming coach, yes.
Gotcha.
Established head coach, I just don't see it. Now, Daryl may shock me and evolve and realize his philosophy doesn't work unless you have the perfect type of player in that. I don't see that happening, though. But if it does, then maybe you can have a head coach, an established head coach, come in and work together with the players and have that common goal to get the championship.
Anybody else off the radar that you can think of?
I think you tossed it out Becky Hammond before.
Okay.
Other previous folks with the Rocket connections.
Okay.
There are other, I think when you go down like that, newcomers, folks who are less established, you're getting into, they'll cost less.
Right.
Cost less to Tillman.
Right.
It's a lot of money to us.
Right.
And maybe that's what Tillman decides to do. And will the new coach be allowed to pick his or her own staff? That's important to me if I'm a head coach coming in this franchise, because D'Antoni, his staff was let go by Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
This staff for this season was handpicked by Daryl.
Yeah.
How many coaches want to come into that?
Yeah, not many. Kris, hate to say it, we got to go. Man, keep us in the know, bro.
Always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, keep sending me those podcasts, because, bro, you do it like nobody else's business. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow you, all the great work that you do at the Houston Roundball Review. Our
website, as it's going across the screen there, thanks to my man AJ, is www.the, or the, depending on where you're from in the country, TheHerr.com. Also, HoustonRoundballReview.com. Articles, podcasts, videos, it's all on there on the website. Blogs still as well, men's and women's basketball. As I like to say, I'm getting back to my roots. Houston Roundball Review, local name, national perspective.
All right, I like that. Clippers don't blow it tonight, right?
I sure hope not. I say that because, and it's a roundabout story, but Patrick Beverly and Russ, I posted a video of the two of them back in November. I still get love from that video, to this day. So as long as one of them still playing, I'm good.
Kris Gardner, you the best, man. Take it easy. Have a good one. We'll be definitely talking to you soon as things further develop with your Houston Rockets. So, all right, have a good one, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, man. Be safe.
All right, Kris Gardner, always a good interview. Great stuff. Like he said, follow him on, go to his website, www.thehrr.com and HoustonRoundballReview.com, on other social media platforms. All right, got to take a quick break. Let's get Sybil Wilkes on here with her COVID-19 update, and then we'll get our next set of guests on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today about the coronavirus. After several NFL coaches were seen not wearing face coverings during Sunday's Week 1 games, the league's leadership is cautioning staff to wear their mask at all times or be sanctioned. Game day protocol requires all team members, including coaches, to wear face coverings while on the field. As the pandemic continues and the general election approaches, Democrats announced it is launching an expanded online portal called iwillvote.com. This allows visitors to register to vote and request a mail-in ballot. They have suspended their door-knocking efforts to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central for a Divine Nine roundtable discussion about strategy to educate, motivate, and activate our community to participate in the most important election in our lifetime. Please visit SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to my free daily newsletter. Be informed, be empowered.
Beautiful people, this is Major. This is why I love you on the lunch break.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Team Texas Tuesday, and I extended the border of the state a little bit. And we got Garrick Jones, of course, formerly with the Houston Texans and the SDFL. But then he's got a lady that I got a chance to interact with when I was a partaker in a very amazing workshop or video workshop. And Lynn, say your last name for everyone. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to disrespect.
It is Kachmarik.
Kachmarik. And Garrick Jones, thank you for introducing me to the amazing Lynn Kachmarik. I haven't been the same.
Oh, you got it, man. I think you have an effect on everybody.
It goes both ways.
Well, I got to tell y'all, I'm so glad to have y'all on. This has been stirring in me since the end of the workshop that you did, Lynn, about trying to have you on. And I got up enough nerve to text Garrick, hey, man, you think you can get Lynn on with us? And he said he could, and you agreed to come on. So I'm really excited. We got to hit the top of the hour ID in just a couple of seconds. But when we come back, I want to talk about everything that you guys did, what the foundation of it was, and we'll do that when we come back. Is that okay?
Sounds great. Sounds great.
All right. We'll be right back with them on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. Of course, had a little NFL football closeout last night for Week 1. Tennessee beat Denver 16-14, last-second field goal. Also, Pittsburgh looking all right, beating the Giants 26-19. We'll be right back right after this.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. First hour on the books, second hour underway on the legendary KYOK. It's Team Texas Tuesday, and Garrick, are you still in Texas or are you somewhere else? Where you residing nowadays?
No, I'm still here, man. I'm still in Houston, man. You know what it is.
Okay, I want to make sure. And Lynn, we've had to extend the border so we can include you in. Where are you tuning in to us from?
I am in Columbus, Ohio State territory.
Well, I'm a boy from Cincinnati, so I can't be mad about that. And we have a very real good friend, sports journalist that comes on, Willie Gibson, graduated from The Ohio State University, covers the Big Ten and the Cleveland Browns. So glad to keep it in the family. Keep it in the family.
My daughter wears a Buckeye necklace, so she's in the Colts.
No problem. No problem. Lynn, tell everybody who you are and all the good stuff that you do. I'm going to put your information at the bottom of the screen. But while we're doing that, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
You know, I've had a pretty diverse background. Right now, I am president of Equilibria In Sports and Equilibria In Education, which I'm just so proud of. I started my own company, True Brand Sports, about 8 years ago. I've been a collegiate athletic director. I coached at Bucknell University for 20 years. I've been a vice president, general manager of a minor league baseball team, a mom, a wife. So really diverse. And I came across this program. I really didn't want to have anything to do with it. I was excited about what I was doing great work around the world. And when I finally went to Houston for a leadership institute, I realized I played on the United States women's national water polo team. I was captain for 8 of 10 years, came back as a coach. So coached at every level, really value leadership. And I realized that this was what I'd been looking for my entire life. It gave me a framework, a simple framework for things that I knew, but how to improve in every area of my life. And so I'm fully on board. I put my own business on the side because whatever time I have left, this is what I want to take around the world.
Absolutely. That's phenomenal. And then Garrick, of course, former member of the Houston Texans, former NFL player, CFL player, founder and commissioner of the SDFL. And forgive me, I couldn't put more on there. It gave me character space, or I would have had all there on there for you. But tell me, Garrick, and then candidate to be a general manager in the NFL, how did you come across Lynn and how did you guys connect?
Well, I met Lynn through Mr. Lewis Sr. And I met Lewis Sr. When they were here for the Super Bowl. They actually were handling the volunteers with the Equilibria situation that they have, and that gave them opportunity to work with all these different volunteers. But it just made it a lot simpler once everybody understood the dynamic of what they brought to the table and what their colors were and all those things. So I got a chance to sit down with Lewis and his group, and we talked about fitting that platform of Equilibria into my developmental football league. Because when I was getting coached up by these different teams, I mean, you would have a sticker on the front of your helmet and the coaches would coach everybody the same way. Right. And I was like, no, if we can utilize this and understand these colors and be more intentional about our communication, that's going to streamline everything and that's going to make us run more cohesively. So those were the things that I saw. And man, we've been running ever since. And when I got a chance to meet Lynn, man, I mean, we just hit it off, and it was a beautiful deal, from day one.
Yeah,
I've waited 3 years, 3 years to work with him.
Really?
Yeah. When I met him, I was coming off of being a vice president and general manager of a minor league baseball team. These young men, and I was the lowest level, coming right out of high school, our starting lineup, right? First round drafts started out as young men, and they're getting no quality, social and emotional intelligence. Many programs that people think are the same as Equilibria In Sports, they're not. They're used as profilers, and we actually develop high levels of social and emotional intelligence. And so after I met Garrick, I went through our diversity and inclusion webinar, and I was blown away at what I didn't know, didn't know. So we wanted to, I wanted to get this going in light of, even before the last 8 months, this is something I'm passionate about. And so we reached out to Garrick, and Lewis was like, who can partner with you? And I'm like, I'm a white woman. We've got to have a great black man or a great black woman that could bring that experience to the table. So here we go.
And Lynn, I appreciate your directness. I mean, on this show right here, we're frank, we're direct. We don't water anything down. So, let's just talk openly. Let's talk about the program and the colors. What do the colors, how are those broken out? What do they mean? And that kind of thing, Lynn.
So there are, and it's similar to other programs in the sense that there's, we've had this, think back to Greek mythology, right? Oil, fire, wind. But this program is only 15 years old. It was created to save lives in the oil and gas industry. And so often I have to say to leaders, you have to be open that something new and better is always around the corner, right? We can't close down. And that's what this is. And so it was developed at a time when brain research was at a different level. So the E-colored yellow is that part of your personality that likes to socialize, easily likes to talk. That's Garrick, Mika, and you, right? And then the red is the doer. Let's get things done. The green is that part of your personality that likes to think and analyze. Not me. Very, very little in my personality. And then the blue is that part of our personality that easily empathy, caring, compassion, something that I'm very worried about in our world. And so we teach you not only about yourself and your own personality, but every other e-color, everyone you come engagement with. And this is the only program that brings in your personality and your character. Where these other programs just focus on tendencies, we teach you how to move from your personality character. How do I, as someone who was 60 years old, I mean, I have been through the ringer, right? And I haven't finished learning, but I never knew how to access my green as a high-level coach, as a mom, as a partner. And I unintentionally hurt a lot of people along my journey. So now I know how to move from my personality, which is not accessing my green and lots of talking and doing, to planning and thinking and being really empathetic and compassionate first and foremost. That's why I love it.
Wow. Now, Garrick, I know that you you're very cerebral, Garrick. You are a thinker, a man. I mean, you just think, brother. I love that. How did this impact you when you found out what your colors were, your primary colors were, and did that line up with what you had thought about yourself beforehand?
Actually, no, man. It showed me why I was able to do a lot of the things that I was able to do, during my lifetime. But it also showed me that there was a lot of room for progress and being able to just change the way I think, because if you're able to be open and able to really look at things and understand things and change your perspective, that's really what it showed me. And that's why I wanted to just fit this program into everything that I touched. And that's one of the things that I'll bring to the table with the Texans. We need this in the Texans organization or any organization in order to make that thing run. And that's what this thing is about. And that's why I wanted to just be a part of everything they have going on, man, because it will change your life, man, once you go through it.
That's the part that, again, I have not been able to shake. I spent a couple of Thursdays in it, and after it was over, I was like, okay, what do I do now? I mean, not coming up next Thursday. Like, I really felt like I needed more. I wanted more. Lynn, talk about the diversity and inclusion concept and what we learned on that webinar.
Well, one of the things that Garrick and I did about 4 two-part series, and we brought in people from around the globe, all different walks of life, cultures, religions, absolutely incredible. And the power of it in a very quick period of time was creating an environment where people felt safe. Yeah. So that was one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we got. So a lot of times in diversity and inclusion training, you have a boss, right? You have a CEO and you have the leadership, and everyone's there afraid to speak up. We created an environment that nobody was afraid to speak up, which is what E-Colors does, because we teach you, like, I don't have a problem speaking up, but my husband is green-blue. He doesn't like conflict. He's not that person to put up his hand. But after working with the program, he knows how to engage now. And so that's the first part of it. When you understand your personality a little bit better, it allows you to know when to engage, when to press play, when to press pause. And so instead of coming on board and just listening to me, people are able to hear from all walks of life. And so and again, when I wanted to get this going and Garrick jumped in quickly, it was about there's so many different dimensions of diversity. Right. Obviously, race has become front and center. It should always have been front and center, but like everything in our world, It's here, it goes away. It's here, it goes away, instead of always being there. So we talk about all dimensions of diversity. What is that? What is diversity and inclusion, right? Our motto was, diversity is a fact, inclusion is an act. So you can't just want it. You have to be intentional about it. And that's what the eColors teaches you, how to be intentional. So Garrick, go ahead, because each of us
stay right
were
there.
able
Let me take a quick break. I'm gonna take a quick break. We'll come back with more right here on the lunch break.
YOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legend continues.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation and a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, the all-new 92.3 FM, and KYOKradio.org.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Are you one of the millions who have taken Zantac or other generic versions of this popular drug to help treat stomach issues? Then pay close attention to this message. The FDA said it detected low levels of a probable cancer-causing chemical known as NDMA in Zantac and other generic forms of this popular drug. They've banned sales and even removed it from the market. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've taken Zantac or a generic equivalent, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's 800-251-7816.
Yes, this is Jonathan Joseph with the Houston Texans.
Man, I wish Jonathan Joseph was still with the Houston Texans. But anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. Garrick is probably looking at me like, man, you're going to leave my Texans alone, man.
It's rough right now, man. It's rough.
Leave my Texans alone. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just keep my mind focused on the discussion. But let's do this. Based on everything that Lynn said before the break, we've got Lynn Kachmarik here from Equilibria In Sports. We've got Garrick Jones, who, of course, played for the Texans, is a candidate for general manager in the NFL, founder and commissioner of the SDFL. Garrick, Lynn, when you saw what the NFL attempted to do with diversity and inclusion, with the Lift Every Voice and Sing and the social justice statements and the linking of arms, it felt like you had more pushback. And I'm not just talking about from the folks who don't want to accept it, but even folks who say it's got to be more than that, right? We're not just going to sing songs and hug arms. Where would something like the diversity and inclusion webinar and concept, where would that fit and benefit the NFL and what they're trying to do?
Well, it would need to be placed in the confines of what they're doing, right? This isn't going to go away overnight, and everybody has a microwave mentality when it comes to everything because of social media. You got this information that's right there at the tip of your fingertips, and as soon as you think about it, you got it, right?
Right.
When it comes down to what's going on in regards to racism, systemic racism, all these different things, this is generational situation. So we have to take steps. You can only eat an elephant a bite at a time. That's it, and this is an elephant.
Yeah.
So in regards to what we do, we bring everybody together. There's no one person or one gender or one demographic that is off limits when it comes down to what we're doing with the diversity and inclusion situation. So it would be a really good deal to fit into the NFL's platform for change because they are now being agents for change. I mean, and it's a forced situation. Don't get me wrong, but you got to understand that over 80% of what goes on looks like me. It just is what it is. So ultimately, it's for us all to win, and that's how this thing is. I mean, but we're on the right track, and it's what I tell Lynn a lot of times because we get so wound up in what we're doing and just so tired. And it's one of the things that I told you as well, Andre. We never can get tired in doing good things. Where we are right now is we are the voices of reason. We are the credible messengers. We are the voices for change, and we have to continue to go. So whenever you're down and whenever Lynn's down, I'm like, listen, this is a part of the deal. This is what we signed up for. We volunteered for this. So now it's up to us to continue to fight and just be consistent. We can only be consistent. And when people see this, now they join in. And before long, it's a chain reaction. And that's what we got to do.
Yeah. I think Lynn's having a little problem with her camera. We can't see you if you can see us. But that being said, I like that in the webinar, you had folks from all different walks of life. You had folks from the soccer world. You had folks from, the swimming world and all different walks of life. And of course, the diversity in race, the diversity in age, diversity in gender, it was all on there. And it was phenomenal to hear the different experiences, even the negative ones. It's like, wow, I never knew. It's like I took some things for granted.
Right.
That to me is part of the power of the process.
Right.
Again, I know Lynn and her folks kind of put it together. How was it your experience when you first stepped into it for the first time?
Well, for me, man, it was eye-opening. Like I said, it was something this is something that's needed, because being a ball player, I've lived in the teamwork realm my entire life. When other people hadn't even stepped into that realm, I have guys that are my brothers that don't look anything like me, and to this day, I can call those guys and they got me, regardless, because we were working toward a common good when it came down to what was going on the football field. But now we have to take those same principles and mentalities and place that into everyday life with everybody else. And that's basically what happened, man. And when I saw it and they approached me, I was like, let's get it. Because I was looking at diversity and inclusion classes as far as taking courses, those things. But then when they approached me and said, hey, we want you to facilitate this thing, I said, let's go. Because I already know from the position that I'm in and what I'm doing and what I'm attempting, we need this. And we need people like myself, people like Lynn, people like you to be leading from the front instead of the back. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. Lynn, good to have you back, because I definitely want your voice in this conversation. I know that on that final Thursday of our 2-week class, there was a young man that you got a chance to hear from his heart as he spoke about what should not be going on in 2020, what he should not have to worry about before he walked out of the door. I'm sure you've heard thousands of things. What are some of the other ones, including his, that stood out to you to let you know this is important work?
Yeah, it's coming from all cultures, right? There's something to be learned, whether you're black, white, brown, it doesn't matter. And something has been beyond impactful for everyone. So, for instance, this young man shared, 22 years old, right out of college, didn't know him, came in from just, our advertising, and just graduated from college, excellent education. And he, from his heart towards the end, said, this is not what I thought, right? It's 2020. I thought by now we'd be equal. I'm not a slave, come on. And his brutal vulnerability and honesty and how he said it elevated everyone in the room. One of the things that, a lot of, some people are uncomfortable talking about bias, because they think if they talk about it, it makes them not a good person. I'm a good person. It has nothing to do with being a good or bad person. It has to do with listening, re-listening, relearning, because I've raised an African-American young man from the time he was 11. I have put myself in situations to be a better person, but my aha moments and my sorrow in what I didn't know, because we were not taught. We were only taught certain things. And so even as an older woman, the life lessons that I've learned from people from all walks, and re-listening to books and re-listening to podcasts, and Garrick saying to me one day, I don't have to read those books, Lynn. I've lived those books. Wow. And we all have a story, right? I am a woman who has led her life in athletics as a loner, right? So I have my own story, but we all have a story. Every one of us has a story that falls in with some bias, whether it be race, whether it be sexist, whether it be gender, whether it be culture, whether it be religion. And so we are broad-based, bringing all of that to the table. I was just listening to my daughter talk about a relationship, and we pull out not only biases, but micro inequities, things that happen to you on a day-to-day basis, maybe from a boss, maybe from a partner that you don't realize. I might think it's because I'm black or brown or white, but it could just be because you have no self-awareness of how you're coming across. And so that's the power of this, is that we get into not only, visible biases, invisible biases, micro inequities. Here's a great thing for you. I'm going to take this away from Garrick because it blows me away. Do you realize that between 93 to 95% of decisions that are made on a day-to-day basis are made with unconscious bias?
Wow. 93 to 95% of the decisions made on a daily basis are based on unconscious bias.
And many of these are made by great people. This does not mean you're not a great character person, but it's the self-awareness of that statistic and doing some hard work, vulnerable work, to dig down to things that you were just born into a certain class, culture, color.
Right.
That came up in our lesson. First of all, we got Lynn Kachmarik from Equilibria In Sports. We got Garrick Jones. Y'all know him very well from formerly Houston Texans and SDFL and general manager candidate in the NFL for the NFL. We were doing the exercise in our group about biases that we didn't realize we had, and I talked about being more lenient and patient with some of my female interns, the young ladies. And, I don't know where that came from. It wasn't as if I said, oh, they're going to be better at sports than the guys. I will say I noticed that most of the guys wanted to be co-hosts rather than interns, and they had a lot to learn before they just grabbed a mic. But it's almost like unconsciously, subconsciously, I had a bias towards the young ladies than I did towards the young men. And I felt convicted by that. I felt like maybe I didn't train the young men up the way I should have because of my decisions and biases that I made subconsciously. So it really caused me to look at myself and not point fingers at anybody else. It's like, wow, you did that. You did that subconsciously.
Right.
So I love that it allows you to get in your own stuff as opposed to allowing you to explain it away because of other people's stuff.
Man, that's the thing that kind of segue off what you just said. Once you learn how to look within yourself and you look at that mirror and you begin to deal with your own baggage, that's when we can start making a change. It's about the exposure, number one, and then from there it's the education. And then after the education, that's when we get into the real movement. Right now, everybody's so hell-bent on making points instead of making progress.
Right.
And that's where we are. Either you're going to make a point or continue to make points, or we're going to start making progress. And that's what this thing is about. It's time.
Yeah, Lynn, if you don't mind me asking you, one of the phrases, a couple of words, just really brings about extreme reactions on either side. White privilege. There's some people that are willing to explore it. There's some people that are flat out opposed. I don't have white privilege. I came up rough and hard and I made my own way and what have you. When you hear that, knowing the background that you have with this diversity and inclusion, how do you handle that? How do you deal with that? And how do you express that?
Yeah, I think it's it absolutely. And it's neither Garrick or I are psychologists or social workers. And so, our whole intent is we've never come to the table to say we know it all. We just want to open up this discussion. But I think a story will help with that white privilege that I share with lots of white people that I have this conversation with. Garrick posted a message on social media as we had gotten started on these seminars, and it was about Levittown. That Levittown was built, right? Levitt built Levittowns in a couple of places, New York, and I grew up in Levittown, Pennsylvania, which was built. And what he posted was Levittown was built and created to deny Black people access to affordable homes back in the day, right? Nothing huge. So I was reading this going, oh my gosh. I grew up in Levittown, which over time became where I grew up. People, when I was in high school, people saw my Levittown as poor white people, right? So poor white people. So I grew up, you know, middle class, lower middle class, white America, but I had no clue that it was created to keep Black people out. So that's what white privilege is. I have been put down and stepped on as a woman in sports. So that's a different kind of privilege that I didn't have, right? Male privilege, male white privilege in sport. But when you take and you become vulnerable and you listen instead of react, and that's what eColors teaches you, how to listen abundantly, how to listen to understand instead of listening to react. Look at all these things that are happening in our country. We're listening to react instead of listening to understand. And so that was a huge moment for me. Again, when I hear white privilege, I think of some of my experiences as a woman in sport. So I could be a little bit in denial. But then when you compare it to race and some of the systematic research that I've continued to do, I understand it. I absolutely understand it. And I think it just backs people against the wall because it makes some people think they're not a good person, which is not what it means.
Right.
They're afraid. They're afraid because they haven't engaged in these vulnerable conversations with people from all walks of life and all ages. When you're sitting even on a virtual call, which I don't like, I'd rather be in person, with a 22-year-old man, young Black man who says, I'm not a slave. I thought we'd be equal by 2020. Right. And then the session before, we had a Hispanic man. And we focused a lot in that workshop on Black and white. And his top color was blue. So as a Hispanic culture, very respectful, a little more reserved, on top of the fact that he was blue and isn't comfortable speaking. When it was over, he finally said, when is it my turn? Wow. When is it our turn? Mm-hmm. You know, it was black and white, a lot of black and white. And I just said, wow, what you just said is incredible. And so then he and I spent a little time together because I wanted to point out the reason that you weren't speaking up is because of your personality, on top of the fact that I've lived in Commerce, California, and Mexican American communities. I just love Hispanic community. And I know it's a little more reserved. And it made him see, wow, I need to be a voice for brown people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lynn Kachmarik and Garrick Jones is really blowing us away today on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. You know, as you were talking, and even before you got to the young man at the end, I was thinking 231 years of presidents here in the United States, not one woman. Mm-hmm. And then when you said that, and I'm thinking not one Hispanic, male or female, one Black man for 8 years out of 231 years of presidents, but yet we seem to think that everything is fine. You can pull yourself up by your bootstraps, just work hard, and you can get there too. When the reality, it's not even the stats, it's not even the data. The reality says something different, like we've got a whole lot more work to do. How do we get this to more forefront, or does it need to stay on a grassroots level? Garrick, I'll let you go first.
I think organically, just getting the word out will help. You know, it's like a virus, right? It's like the flu. You know, if you go to the doctor, you know, and you got the flu, he's not going to give you anything topical to put on. He's not going to give you a lotion or ointment or a potion. You're going to get a shot. So I think organically, people starting to get this and starting to spread this will be the vaccine. And once you get to a point to where you're surrounding some of these mass medias and some of these powers that be, and there's enough people that are behind it. Now they have to deal with it, you know, and that's the thing that we look at, and that's the thing that I definitely look at. Once, all it takes is one time. I guarantee you, all it takes is one time for you to be on, for you to check some things out. I've had some conversations with some pretty rough individuals that come from a total different background than myself, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit. But once I got them to just look at the recording, I had them, and that's where the change started to happen. So now we get into the point where now we're starting to work together, you know, and these are some guys that I probably wouldn't be hanging around, but because of what we're doing, those are the sacrifices that need to be made. So I think organically is good. We'll continue to press on, man, but world needs this, man. I promise you. We got the answer.
Yeah, Lynn, your thoughts. How do we get this to more people and affect more lives? To just get folks to think. If they just think before they assume or react, how do we do that?
You know, I think both ways. I think Garrick is right on target, because the power has been people from different cultures coming into this, not knowing each other. And we talk about safety and trust and just listen to understand. At the same time, I do want to move this. I mean, Garrick and I, especially in the sport community, we bring such a deep and vast experience to the table as a white woman and as a black man. And, you know, I coached men. I'm one of the few women in this country to have coached Division I men's team sport. And I think every male athlete needs to hear from a woman. So I'm just going to lay that out there. But I think
I agree.
You know, I think what we bring to the table with this is this power to I'm not saying we can heal, but we can open the discussion. We can bring things to the table that people just have to be open to learn. You know, I learned at a very young age. At 24 years old, I followed a highly successful coach at Bucknell. And I was like, who am I going to learn from? Oh my gosh, I don't know how to recruit. And I thought, oh, this guy, he's been highly successful. However, I got there for his last 10 years when he knew it all. He didn't have to learn anything. So I watched him for 10 years hurt so many amazing young men. And so my message is crave learning and growing at every single level of life. You know, think about, you know, over the last couple of years, you know, I'm so glad that this is where my passion is falling, but I've watched high-level athletes react on the playing fields and get in trouble, right? React, get suspended. React, you know, lots of reacting happening in our country. And the message I want to get out is we are helping people move from reacting, which is their personality tendencies, to their character, which is a response, and they leave themselves and others with their dignity, right? With their dignity. You know, my CEO, I heard him say 3 years ago, and this statement has changed my life in every area. Do I leave everybody with their dignity? And I don't. I'm not a perfect person. I strive for that. But when I'm not listening to understand, when I'm rushing, when I'm talking too much, I am not leaving that person or that team with their dignity. Think if we can instill that through diversity and inclusion, do you leave everyone with their dignity? How we could move forward.
Man, that's so powerful. Lynn Kachmarik with Sports Equilibria. We got Garrick Jones, who's just family. I mean, former Houston Texan, founder, commissioner of the SDFL, and general manager candidate for the NFL. As you guys are just blowing me away in a good way, 0 NBA head coaches that are women. Several men that are coaches in the WNBA. We're celebrating now women becoming assistant coaches in the NFL and Major League Baseball. But I'm now getting interjected in the Women's Professional Tackle League. Bunch of men coaching these women in football. I mean, there are innate on literally. It's one is normal. The other one's almost like, it's no big deal. What I mean, who's going to coach the women in football but a man? I don't know. maybe another woman who played football.
Right.
Figure. So when I tell you this thing is needed, and don't even let me get in the church community because I'm a pastor outside of this. And when I tell you the biases and the lack of diversities in our houses of worship on Sundays and Wednesdays and Saturdays is just
unreal.
So somebody asked the question, how do we get involved? How do they get connected with this? Because we need this almost everywhere.
Everywhere. So first and foremost, reaching out to you, and you've got our contact information because, I just finished doing the self and team awareness workshop with a 4th grade inner city class.
You did?
4th grade inner city class. And just before I came on, they sent me a video of each child, what they learned. So now I have 9-year-olds. I used to get in trouble for talking too much at home. I mean, I wish you could put the video having 10-year-old. We start this at age 7. So can you imagine teaching kids? So often somebody thinks that I don't like that person because they're black or they're brown or they're white. But the reality is I don't connect with that person because they're talking too much. They're not using eye-to-eye contact.
Right.
They are moving too quickly, which is personality tendencies. So that's why we start with self and team awareness. Then we move on to D&I. So, the D&I, Garrick, our team, we're putting it together because we want this. I'll do this for the rest of my life. It's my passion. It's my calling because I haven't done enough. And, but being the president of taking this to sport teams, to youth, to pro teams, it's got to be there. We can change lives with a new, powerful life transitioning program.
Yeah. Garrick, your thoughts. How do you want me to send folks y'all's way? Because, schools, churches, obviously sports teams, and even communities. There are communities that want to do better. They want to do better.
Right.
How do we do that going forward?
Well, just to kind of, go off of what Lynn said, going through you first, a lot of people will be reaching out, but it takes a village and it takes us all to just put the word out there and just get as many people involved as possible. We'll end up doing another couple of sessions, and we can start, taking a lot of people that reach out to you and a lot of other people that are reaching out, and we can kind of bring that back together and doing some things, because we did 8 weeks, Lynn?
Yeah.
We did 8 weeks and kind of took a little break just to kind of start putting some promotional stuff together. But we'll end up doing some more. And we definitely want to include those people. And so they can get it. And now they can go out and they can basically spread this gospel, man, because this is something that the world needs. And this is what it's all about. And it's going to take all of us to do our part. And it's easy as pressing a button,
And I have new brothers, right? AJ, I've connected with you. I've watched your radio show. I've joined in, and it is, it's taking me out of my comfort world and connecting me to amazing people that I didn't have the ability to connect with. And that's one of the things that I'm hearing back is people from all walks are now joining social media, and watching your friends and how you communicate to each other is great for me, right? It is a privilege. And so it's just that. It's free. I want people to know all the work Garrett and I are doing for D&I is free. People can just join it. And so there's so much yet to come, but you giving us this platform is this is what we needed. I just did a full day retreat for self and team awareness, and now we're going to move on to D&I with a whole class of EMS students in Houston. So we have Equilibria in healthcare, Equilibria for the family, for churches, you name it, we can make an impact in your lives.
All right, y'all heard it. Y'all can feel it. This is it right here. If you want to make a difference, if you're serious about being part of this change, or even understanding from a different perspective, I got 2 people on that have a team of folks, a family of folks behind them that are committed to helping us do better, know better, understand better, and just, again, deal with those things that you're not a bad person just because you just, we think a certain way. We were raised differently. Two people from the same womb don't always agree. We were raised differently. So I cannot tell you, Lynn, Garrick, y'all are on to something. Whatever you do, keep spreading this, keep sharing this. And when you start the next set of classes, let me know so I can get folks involved. And let's just do this together. Let's change lives together, because there are a lot of people out there that really want to change.
There is.
Yeah.
And you've changed me. You guys have changed me. So I'm humbled and I'm honored. So thank you.
Lynn, can you give them your contact information? Again, I only had so many characters, so I couldn't put the websites up there. Tell them where they can find you and follow you. Or
they can email me at Lynn, my name right there, LYNN .Kachmarik, KACHMARIK at Equilibria, EQUILIA.com. I'm very responsive. You can go to equilibriansports.com, which is our website. My contact info is there. And through my family right here on this call and many other people that you two have privileged me with getting to know. So thank you.
Lynn, thank you. And I mean it sincerely. Garrick, do it again, bro. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow. This is the great work that you're doing. I don't know about any other general manager in the league. I'm not going to put them down. Look, you're already one of the best, bro.
Man, listen, and that's what I tell people. You won't find anybody that's going to outwork me, period. So we're making it happen. But you can just search me out, hashtag GJ for GJ, hashtag GJ #4 GM, and that'll show you everything. I'm hashtagging that on all of the stuff that we're doing with the diversity and inclusion, all of the stuff that I'm doing, as long with this GM push, anything that I have going on. You're able to just find me by going to Google, hashtag GJ #4 GM, and I'll pop up. I promise you.
Man, I got to.
I'm on Team Garrick. I am on Team Garrick.
You and me
our
both.
country needs him.
Yep.
Our sports need him.
Yep.
I need him.
Yep. You and me both. I got to tell you, one of the best interviews we've done, and I'm not knocking anybody else, but just your information, your personalities, your mission, your calling, your lives are literally changing. They're impactful. And I want you to stay encouraged on the days you feel like you least want to do it. Those are the days you're needed the most. Don't forget that. Those are the days that you're needed the most. When the enemy asks you, why don't you quit? Look him dead in the eye and say, why don't you? So, I mean it, you guys. Thank you so much. Lynn, thank you. Garrick, thank you. We got to have you back, and we'll do it soon, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. We got to take a break, man. I am overwhelmed. Lynn Kachmarik, Garrick Jones, great stuff right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. Let me take a break. We'll take some calls after this. 281-453-1000. That's 281-453-1000. It's the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legendary KYOK.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? Quick Cash Offer can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents and risking your safety by showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your home to foreclosure. If you have any equity in your home, we will buy it and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call Quick Cash Offer now before the economy gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just don't want to get the cash you need today.
800-780-1431. 800-780-1431. 800-780-1431. That's 800-780-1431.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
I'm going to tell you how you can get real health insurance for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable health insurance for you and your family immediately, starting at just $6 a day. And coverage is guaranteed regardless of your medical condition. That's right, for about $6 a day, you can have guaranteed health insurance. And there's dental, vision, and prescription coverage too. You owe it to yourself and your family to make this free call right now and learn more. There are no deductibles, no waiting period, no contracts, and coverage is guaranteed. Call National Health right now for your risk-free guaranteed health insurance quote starting at just $6 a day. Call now.
800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. That's 800-797-0921. Paid for by Go Health.
My name is Devon McDonald from Jamaica. Play with Indianapolis Colts. And listen, you listen to the lunch break.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. And I got to tell you, I meant what I said when I said to them that after those 2 weeks were over, I was left wanting. I was left, oh, my God, what do I do now? Because they had stirred up some awareness in me, some consciousness in me to really try to pay attention to unconscious, subconscious biases, where I didn't even know why I was being biased to one person over another or one group over another. And I haven't even gotten my colors yet. I haven't gone through that part of it where I know I got an idea. I think I'm a red and yellow, but I'm also a big thinker and I'm an empath. I feel what other people are feeling. So let me just tell you, that's meaningful change. I'm not knocking the NFL, but just playing songs and painting the field and running a bunch of commercials, those are pieces. Those can't be it. Those are like setup plays to the big play. Those can't be the only play. And if they are, then I say again, the NFL has got to get connected with people like Garrick Jones and Lynn Kachmarik. They got to get connected with them because the people that they're listening to that are making these decisions that we should play Lift Every Voice and Sing, and we should paint Black Lives Matter, and we should have little stickers on the back of helmets, they just haven't gone deep enough. And that's why you got pushback from, I'm just talking about the people that want to get it but don't. I'm not talking about the people that don't want to get it. I don't care how much you define sports as entertainment to help you get away for your life for a couple of hours. If that's what you need sports for, let me make a suggestion to you. Get a therapist. You need a therapist. You're just using sports as therapy. And sports were not meant to be your therapy. They're sports. So just because you called it that doesn't mean that that's what it is or what athletes have to succumb to. They don't have to succumb to your entertainment and therapy to get away from the life that you want to escape for a few hours. Go talk to your wife, go talk to your children, and let them know I need to get away from you for a couple of hours and see how that goes over. I promise you, you need a therapist. I don't mean be disrespectful. But I'm talking about the people that really want to make a change. And they understand that sports is a snapshot. It's a microcosm of our society. And there's so much diversity in the locker rooms and on the teams and in the organizations. There should be anyway. And the best way to get to it is how to understand what all your biases are, not just racial bias. It's more to it than that. You know, there's age bias, there's gender bias, there's wealth bias, there's just, you know, attitudinal biases. Some people don't like to deal with difficult people. I got news for you. Somebody had to deal with you. So you might want to be compassionate with difficult people. So, you know, again, Lynn Kachmarik, Garrick Jones, phenomenal. All right, let me get a phone call. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
My brother, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm good. First of all, let me stay in the spirit or in the topic at hand, and commend you and the staff of KYOK for not holding back, not utilizing the platform that you have in order to address these issues that you've been addressing today. I know it's Texans Tuesday, but there's some things that, you know, that needed to be said and needed to be done, and I applaud you for having the mindset and making the necessary connections to present it to the listening audience on today.
Appreciate you, man. I do. It's, you know, if we don't do it, I mean, DB, you've been around this market for a while. In fact, folks don't even realize you are one of them legendary dudes. You literally need to be in somebody's Hall of Fame because you weren't you one of the first announcers on KWWJ, or was it KYOK?
I was at KWWJ.
At KWWJ, our flagship station. So watch this. If we don't do it at KWWJ and KYOK, I promise you they're not going to do it at 790. They're not going to do it at 97.5. They're certainly not going to do it at 610. So if we don't use this platform in the world of sports to talk about what our brothers and our sisters are fighting for, are believing in, and being subjected to, shut up and dribble and entertain me. I want to get away from my life for 2 hours. I'm sorry, get a therapist. You know, an athlete is not responsible for your mental well-being.
And, you know, let me say this. And I don't think I've ever told you this story, but in '80, the year after the Patriots lost to the Bears in the Super Bowl, the first year that they've ever won the AFC, I went to New England, invited to come to New England for a camp, and was told, and this is like 85, 86, and went through some changes, and, you know, because of being raised in the South, you know, some people may be able to understand this and some people may not. You can smell it when the atmosphere shifts. And even in New England, back in the 80s, the atmosphere was shifting. If you were not an athlete, if you did not play for the Patriots or for the Celtics, and I'm talking about, of course, black,
right?
Play for the Red Sox, you know, you were, and the worst thing about it was the people who lived there, you know, they knew what they were into. So, you know, and the thing is that fact that, and I'm going to leave this alone, but I got to drop this in the atmosphere real quick. It is hard to unroot something that has been planted for a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
That thing that we're discussing right now, that thing has been in the ground and it has spread it from its initial roots when the first ship came over back in 18, wherever it is, and I would remember the ship, but I can't right now. I'm having a brain freeze. But when that seed was planted, that seed has been rooted for years. And the only thing that is happening is the fact that you're steadily pruning back. You know what I'm saying? Just cutting at it, but you haven't uprooted it because the roots are so deep.
Right.
They're so deep in the ground. And, you know, you have little spurts, you know, like you're saying, and I agree with, you know, you can paint the field, paint the basketball court, you know what I'm saying, paint the hockey rink, Black Lives Matter, all you want to. You can put stickers and remember those, but people, you have to remember something. People have died. People have lost loved ones. You know what I'm saying? People have lost legacies. You know, you got history behind this, but the problem is still, and here's the thing that is hidden, there's a house where someone has been taught something, and that's a part of, and there's so many multiple variables of the uprooting, and I'm going to leave that alone because then that opens up another door, because the fact you're telling me that, you're saying to me, DB, that, yeah, in somebody's house, they've been taught this.
Right.
And so when they've been taught it at home, they bring it out into the public because that's what they believe in.
Right. Right.
And that's part of the uproot.
Yep. And DB, to your point, the roots are deep, and any good farmer or gardener will tell you there's certain ways that you can uproot those things, but you got to kill it at the root. If you just chop it off, those roots can grow back. You got to make the environment uncomfortable. You cannot give that thing a comfortable environment to continue to grow in. So you got to do a number of different things. And that's what, like I said, if the NFL and the NBA, if these are tools to another thing or a bigger thing, then okay. But if this is all you got, that thing ain't going anywhere. And that's why I'm appreciative of the Lynn Kachmariks, the Garrick Joneses, and other folks like that who have a process to make that thing uncomfortable and the environment uncomfortable around it where it can't just grow.
Right, and real quick, because I know you're getting ready to get off, if and piggybacking on what you're saying, let's not do it just for a season.
Right.
You know, after this season, okay, we're going, because guess what? Just like historically, when Jim Brown, Lou Alcindor, Clay, all of them got together back in the 60s, they did, you understand, they stood unified for a season.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it fell off.
Yep. Yeah. And DB, everything's got to be on the table. I feel like right now, you know, we're not going to play tonight, but you know we're going to be back tomorrow. Or we might not play tonight and tomorrow, but you know we're going to be back eventually. Until everything is on the table, where folks are saying, listen, I'm willing to forego all of this until you do the right thing. It's going to be hard to do. But, man, I like Garrick Jones say, I can't get tired on this, man. I got children coming behind me that I don't want them fighting the same fight that our grandfathers fought.
We're talking about generation, because guess what? We are the generation behind those.
Right.
You understand? That came on the Armageddon. That's the name of the ship.
Yeah.
You understand? We're that generation, and guess what? We're still fighting.
I know.
We're still fighting, bro.
DB, table this for tomorrow, man. I appreciate you as always, man, and I really do. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, my brother.
All right, let me get Sybil Wilkes on real quick with a short update for COVID-19. I'm going to go ahead and go. Again, Lynn Kachmarik, Garrick Jones, and Kris Gardner from Houston Roundball Review, and DB Cook. Thank y'all for tuning in, joining in. We'll be back tomorrow with Winning Wednesday. Lord say the same. Should have David Grubb and Kelsey Nicole Nelson tomorrow. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it except wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize everything around you, be sensitive to people around you. Listen, give people 6 feet. I was in a store yesterday. Man didn't have on a mask. I didn't want to be famous, so I didn't call him out. Just wear the doggone masks. Anyway, when you see the racism, kill it. Not the people, the racism. Y'all be blessed.
Coronavirus. As the pandemic continues and the general election approaches, Democrats have announced it's launching an expanded online portal called IWillVote.com. This allows visitors to register to vote and request a mail-in ballot in their state. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central for a Divine Nine roundtable discussion about strategy to educate, motivate, and activate our community to participate in the most important election in our lifetime. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston. Are you ready?
All right, y'all. Hey, I really hope that y'all enjoyed today's show. Today's show was one of those ones I'm not going to forget. And I do. I want y'all to reach out to Lynn Kachmarik with Equilibria In Sports and to Garrick Jones former Houston Texan, member of the former NFL player, and current candidate for general manager, hopefully with the Houston Texans. They got a great thing. They said it's free. Bring them into your group. Bring them into your associations. Bring them into your sororities and your fraternities and your Eastern Star and your Masons and your community groups. I mean, bring them into your schools and your districts and what have you. And let's start planting some seeds of change, please, y'all. I took the 2-week deal myself. It is impactful. It is mind-provoking. It's thought-provoking. It is good. So y'all do it, if you will. As always, not this, definitely this. I do. I love y'all. Take care.